I need to confess that I was once a culture killer. I tolerated a lot of things in effort to keep the peace and not rock the boat and not be ostracized as a part of a friend group or friend groups within the organization that I really wanted to be a part of. Welcome back to the Culture Base podcast. I'm Dustin. He's Blake. We are the Culture Base, and we're excited to be with you today to remind you, or really to remind Blake. Blake, don't be so defensive.
Okay.
You took that really well.
You're really good at this.
You took that really well. Today we're talking don't be so defensive and other culture killers.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to remind you that we're here to help leaders know what they're about, show where they're going, and develop a scalable team to get them there. If you'd like our help on any of that, if that sounds good to you, head on over to theculturebase.com. That's BASE, theculturebase.com. We got some free resources on there for you. You can follow along to any other content we drop like this, and even a free ebook. Head on over to theculturebase.com today. All right, Blake, culture killers. Let's get into it. So, Keith Cunningham, we use this quote all the time. Do you remember what book this is from? Or is this just like he said?
I believe it's The Road Less Stupid.
The Road Less Stupid? Cool. Yeah. Which is hurtful every time.
Very hurtful.
Every time it's hurtful. No, seriously, Keith Cunningham says culture is what you tolerate. And with that said, for our story time today, I need to confess that I was once a culture killer. I tolerated a lot of things in effort to keep the peace and not rock the boat and not be ostracized as a part of a friend group or friend groups within the organization that I really wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit of now I'm older and a little bit of that get off my lawn is creeping in. But now I feel like I'm even in some text threads now. Maybe you are too, Blake, where some of that stuff starts. And I used to chime in, honestly. I used to be like, yeah, that's terrible. They're the worst. This place is the worst, stuff like that. And then I moved into like, no, I'm just not going to participate in it. And now I've moved into more of like, I'm going to let you know in the text thread or in the group or in the circle or at the water cooler or at the bar or wherever we're at in the break room. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm just not going to talk about that. And I'll say that out loud. Because culture is what we tolerate.
Yeah. Man, that's good. That's good. I think that probably leads to this idea of like what makes something a culture killer and like what's the problem with that. And I think one of the problems with it is there's a visibility problem with culture killers is they don't announce themselves, hey, I'm here to destroy your culture. Like,
yeah, they're in secret.
It's very secretive, and it's like the whole heating up the pot with the lobster or the frog mentality, right? Like you slowly, gradually raise it. And by that point, and I don't know if that's true, by the way, so don't science fact check me on that, but I
think it's like an ancient proverb situation, but we all get what you're
exactly.
saying.
It's more
water just slowly comes to a boil. The frog doesn't realize it. He could hop out, doesn't realize it. Next thing he knows, he's being boiled.
Exactly.
Just for my slow kids in the back like me, I just want to make sure we get that.
No, I love it. But that's one of the problems is it's not visibly announcing itself. So what Dustin was talking about a second ago, the idea of naming something, when you see it, calling it out, because the more that it slowly happens, the more it normalizes. Tolerating doesn't happen immediately. It happens gradually. And so if we don't call things out as being what they are, that's where the problem starts to happen. We start to normalize the issues. We start to gradually tolerate the bad things. And so I want to call that out first. I think there is a big difference between like structural versus behavioral killers. So like not all culture killers are people problems. Some of them are baked into our systems. Could be compensation models. It could be a whole bunch of things that truly erode your culture. But I think Dustin and I were talking about this at the beginning. I think there's a definition is definitely needed here. And I love the definition of this. And a culture killer is any behavior or pattern that when left unchecked will erode trust, it'll erode communication, and it'll erode a shared purpose. All of those matter. I think all of those are like 3 load-bearing walls to a house, essentially. And like, are all of them always perfect? No, absolutely not. But like when one is off, you're still going to have a good house. You remove all 3 of those, and you got a group of people who are just sharing a paycheck. That's about it. Okay. And so at this level, I found I've been on both extremes of this. One where I thought the culture was fluffy voodoo that didn't really matter. And at the end of the day, like we could do without all the little isms, and people just need to suck it up and do their job and just be happy that they have a paycheck. Well, that doesn't vibe right. But on the other flip side, I think you lose a shared purpose when all it is the environment being good and the environment being perfect. And you're like, oh, we all love each other. We trust each other. And, we talk about our feelings. But then when it gets down to hard things and having a shared purpose that we're all saying excellence is at the key of everything we do. When you get away from that, same thing. We are not growing people. We're just existing. Okay. We can't have that.
Yeah. People will often say, and we know it's true, everybody's been in this situation before, is that nothing brings people together like a shared enemy. Right. Yeah. And so I think that's why sometimes this culture killing epidemic spreads so easily and so silently, like gossip, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, that it goes down smooth and easy because it doesn't bump up against what everybody's feeling. Right. And so we have this shared enemy. If there's 4 people in a circle or at the water cooler or in the break room or on a job site, and 3 of them are bad mouthing the company, then it's really difficult for that 4th one to go against that. It's a lot easier to I don't necessarily 100% agree, but I don't want to be left out of this group here, so I'm going to just pile on. And so it creates a shared enemy. But I think the antidote to that, Blake, is what if we replace the shared enemy with the shared purpose? Right. And if we can get connected, this is why organizations, like Disney and GE and like all these ones, Pixar, all these ones who have like Apple, who are like, these are, when people think about like an amazing place to work, they think about this, is because the leaders at the ground level and the leaders at the top level are constantly reminding them of their purpose, not of the work, not of the KPIs or the quarterly deadlines. They're reminding them of the purpose, because the purpose drives everything. And if we can rally around that purpose, if you can get your peers to rally around that purpose, then that's going to be the antidote for a culture killer. And I say peers because we've talked about this a lot before on the show, Blake, is that we lead up, we lead down, and we kind of lead horizontally, right? It's 360 leader, right? 360 degrees of leadership. The peer leadership, the horizontal leadership, is the most important and the most overlooked, right? Because we have the ability. You could even be like, hey, we're managers and we're behind closed doors and we're like, hey, it's a safe space. We can say whatever we want. That's a toxic tendency that will destroy the organization from the top down, from the inside out. because it started in a secret. Hey, it's okay. This is a safe space. Hey, just off the record real quick. Let me just, right. That's the stuff that gets it every time.
Yeah. It's not the big speeches.
No.
It's those moments. It's those moments that really challenge. Yeah.
It's not
absolutely.
That.
Yeah.
It's not that. So speaking of the top, when we talk to organizations about this, Blake, and we start thinking about some of these culture killers, one of the things that's probably the quickest to identify is that the leaders, so the top of the org chart, the top of the organization, exhibit a level of defensiveness that prevents them from being able to receive feedback without visually, physically shutting down, right? Without lashing out verbally, without excuse making, right? Without proper ownership of, right? Everything rises and falls on leadership. It might not have been you that did it, but it's on you because you let it.
Yeah.
Right. Culture is what we tolerate.
Yeah.
And so I think at the beginning of this conversation, we identify what makes something a culture killer. At the beginning of this conversation, we have to recognize as leaders that what we tolerate, what we allow, what we don't accept ourselves, and what we put off physically and verbally ourselves trickles down more. You know, we always say, like, nothing will ever, or no one will ever rise to the level of passion or care that a leader or an owner has about their organization, right? It's the what I call the theater rule, right? That on stage in theater, you have to exaggerate your facial expressions so that the people in the back of the room it looks normal to them, right? And so it's the same thing for us as leaders. Like, we have to almost sometimes over exaggerate, and if it's fake, they can smell it a mile away, so it better not be fake. But we do have to over exaggerate and overemphasize the culture, overemphasize what we're about, overemphasize the purpose, and we have to be willing to hear and accept the criticism and the feedback from our teams, because if we can't do that, then the rest of if we shut down when we hear criticism, Blake, then the rest of the organization shuts down too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. You want to talk about just some of the suspects that we do see?
Yeah, for sure.
Organization. Gossip is one of those things we look at and don't believe we're doing it. We engage in it and we believe that was just something that schoolgirls do, you know, when they're learning how to become women, and that guys don't do it at all. That's just a crock of shit. Like, I would actually say that guys probably are the most at this.
100%.
And gossip is defensiveness in and of itself. It's hiding. And, you know, I say this to my kids, I say this to my team all the time, that there's two ways to get ahead in the world. One, you work your tail off, you do all the right things, and sure, there's a lot of luck involved to that too. And then the other one is you tear people down. So one way, like, the idea is you work really hard to get ahead, or you have to tear someone down to be ahead of them. Yeah. And gossip is the heart of the tearing down. It is taking partial information and building stories and not giving benefit of the doubt. It's not a trust builder. It's a trust tearing down. You're trying to bring people to your side instead of understand truth. Truth is never at the core of gossip.
Yep.
It's never. And you can say, oh, but there are true parts. Yeah, but true parts mixed with lie is still lie, right? Like, and anything times zero is still zero. Okay. Good. And so let's not say that there are bits of truth, because that's anything that has bits of truth and then not truth is not maybe even lie. It's deception. Yeah. Still not top of the list for good things. So I'm not trying to shame people who gossip here. I'm just trying to say this will tear down your organization hardcore. Yeah. And everyone wants a tribe. build it right. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a tribe that people actually care about being honest and care about being of character, because at the end of the day, that's all we have anyway. And gossip doesn't only tear down the organization and the culture that's trying to be built, it tears you down too. It is the poison that you take thinking it's going to hurt someone else. Okay. Like we've got to know this destructive. Okay. Yeah. So didn't mean to go on a soapbox there. I just think that it's huge. So blame shifting just lacks character. Okay. It just is. We talked about our A player, and accountable for actions or accountable for results is one of the biggest things that we look at in what an A player looks like in an organization. If you want to go back, we have a whole series on A player. Okay. If this is your first time ever locking into the Culture Based Podcast, we have a whole 10 episodes on it. Okay. Blame shifting is the opposite of accountable for actions. It is the ability to say, not my problem. Oh, it was them. I could have been able to do my thing, but I couldn't because it's just, I don't know. It's weak. It's cowardly. It's petty, just downright petty. So highly encourage, stay away from blame shifting, especially as the leader. If you're going to do it, you're creating the culture of blame shift. Okay. Yeah. And everyone will follow suit quickly.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. And then getting into the next one, Blake, credit stealing. I always tell people, I heard this many, many years ago, that great leaders give credit and take blame.
Yeah.
Right. It's the counter culture to use the word here. Right. But sometimes it's the counter culture that actually feeds the right culture. Right. And so normal, easy to go with, easy to tolerate, easy to let happen is to blame shift and steal credit. The harder, more intentional, more directional, purposeful way for a leader is the opposite, right? Is that great leaders give credit and take blame. I don't want to say something about gossip too before we move off of that. Affirmation of the wrong thing is gossip's ugly cousin. Right. Someone says something about something that they don't like and you affirm it. That's gossip. Right. Affirming the wrong thing, but correcting is the antidote for that. And then Blake talked about everybody wants a tribe. I don't know if I've said it on this podcast before. I've definitely said it on my podcast before. I don't even know what the book is called. I had an idea for a book several years ago. Didn't act on it. Someone else wrote it instead. I'm still mad about it. But essentially the book is all about be as a company, as a person, as a leader in this world, be known for what you're for and not for what you're against.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going to build that, everybody wants to be a part of a tribe, build the tribe within your organization of that's known for what you're for. Right. So there's departments in bigger organizations. Right. Everybody knows, hey, the marketing department is lazy, but the ops department, they are known for getting things done. Right. And so it's just everybody knows what everybody's tribe is identified as already. So work hard to shape that tribe's identity to being known for something and not what it's against, if that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the things when you were talking about credit stealing, we talked about what's a culture killer. One of those things is shared purpose. And Ronald Reagan's famously known for saying we all could do a lot of amazing things in this world if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. And when credit is what you're concerned with, purpose is not.
Well, that's good.
Shared purpose is one that doesn't give a rip about credit. Okay. It's one that says that the end goal is more important than my goal. Okay. And I think locking in, like Dustin said it earlier, locking into what that shared purpose is and what you are for and what you are trying to create in this world, because that's the big idea here is what are we trying to create in this world? That's that shared purpose. Okay. And there are a lot of other things too that kill our culture. I think one of them, maybe the last that I'd want to throw out here, Dustin, is passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ugly. Its sister sarcasm is pretty much there too.
Yeah.
And those things right there, they always give you an out from being honest, or like, oh, that's not what I was saying. I wasn't really. Be who you are. Say what you mean, and stand behind it. Passive aggressiveness is cowardice, just hands down is what it is. It's afraid to say the right thing, or afraid to say whatever you believe to be truth. Okay. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not even saying like saying the thing is correct. I'm just saying passive aggressiveness always gives you that ability to not be a person of character and standard. And it's ugly. It's very ugly. And it's one that people are afraid to talk and call out because, well, if I call it out and they don't mean it, now we're in an argument. And
and not to go completely off script here, but you mentioned sarcasm, and I hear a lot of times people say that like there's no bigger culture killer than sarcasm. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, and I would love to hear your thoughts and what you've maybe seen. Like, 'cause I could see, like, I've been a part of cultures where sarcasm, like in the right context, was a unifier.
Yeah.
Right. We're not downgrading customers or clients, and we're not downgrading the organization. Right. It could be we're talking about a sports team, and we're being sarcastic about like our own sports team, or things like, or we all love TV movie quotes and things like that, and so we're using those in certain contexts, but. I don't know. I could go either way. I think honestly, like anything abused can be a culture killer.
Sure.
Right. It's just like in the rest of the world and our physical health, like we get too much of anything is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so I could see how it could be abused, but I'd just love to hear your take on that.
Yeah. For me, it's like cussing. Like,
I
don't have a problem with cussing until the heart intent is, it can be destroying. Like, to jokingly with you and I, like, cuss doesn't bother me at all. If I see a guy who is just cussing up a storm at his kid, that there is an intent to that bugs me.
Yeah.
And I think one of those can be a builder. One of those can tear it down. It's a tool, right? So I'm saying sarcasm in the sense of the passive aggressive nature. That's the one where it's like, I'm not saying what I need to say. And so I'm being sarcastic, like, oh yeah, he's good. Well, okay. You're tearing him down and you gave yourself an out, not to be, hey, he's not doing great. Like he needs to up his game.
Yeah. Like, you're hoping they pick up on the clues so that you don't have to have the hard conversation that you need to have.
Yeah. And I'm not even making some wide sweeping sarcasm is bad kind of statement here. I'm just saying anytime the intent is to tear down, sure, it's bad, right?
That's good. The last one too, like that I remember I used to talk a lot about when I worked in the nonprofit world was the meeting after the meeting. Like the meeting after the meeting is, that's really the breeding ground for all these other things that we've talked about. Yeah. It's the breeding ground for gossip and blame shifting and credit stealing and passive aggression. Like it's that you want to know, like, where are all these things taking place? I don't see any of this. It's probably after the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably after the meeting. If you follow, hey, we're going to go back. You follow the team back to their stations after the meeting quietly, and they don't know you're there. You're probably going to hear some of that stuff. Yeah. If it's a culture that needs to be fixed. If it's a good culture, you're gonna hear them like be more. There's going to be more of a heart of gratitude after a meeting because meetings should provide clarity.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody knows death of a meeting. There's too many meetings. The reason people hate meetings is because meetings usually bad meetings cause more confusion than they provide clarity, and a good meeting will provide more clarity than confusion. And so people leave meetings going, well, I'm just as confused or frustrated as I was, but I'm actually almost even more now than I was before I left the meeting. And they're too afraid, they're too passive in the meeting to bring that up and say, what are we actually doing here? Can someone actually give me the answer and do it respectfully? Right. Then they just go, well, I'll just complain about it after the meeting. And this just furthers my point. Mm-hmm. Right. They're looking for the proof, and they're proof hoarding to make up a term. Right. They're going, see, I knew it.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah. I knew that this meeting wasn't going to be good and they weren't going to do anything. But what did you do to make that meeting better? Mm-hmm. Right. And so there's a little bit of that ownership, like we talked about. So wrapping up, Blake, how talking about how these culture killers spread, I think goes back to the Keith Cunningham quote at the beginning of this, where he talks about culture is what you tolerate, right? That one unchecked behavior will signal to the entire rest of the organization that that thing is okay. Mm-hmm. That tolerance is a form of endorsement. Some people think, well, I didn't say that that's who we were, but you didn't not say it.
Yeah.
Either. You didn't say that that's not who you were as well. Right. And so what I want to free leaders up for here at the end of this podcast, Blake, and then I'll give it to you for final thoughts, is I don't want a leader to feel like they have to be perfect. Right. And in fact, I beg you not to be. Mm-hmm. Right. This is not perfection that we're going after. It's transparency, because that transparency breeds trust, and trust breeds the right culture that you want. Mm-hmm. Right. What we're saying is, we're not saying be perfect. We're not saying that these things aren't going to happen. All of these things that we mentioned, they're going to happen. It's what you do when they happen that matters. So once you catch these culture killers in action, you need to acknowledge it. You need to own it. You need to correct it, and then move forward. Not move on, move forward, right? It's the buffalo. We're going to go through the storm. We're not going to go around the storm. We're not going to go in the opposite direction that the storm is coming. We're just going to go through it, right? And we're going to work through it. And in that working through it, we're acknowledging it, we're owning it, we're correcting it, and we're moving forward. So not perfection, right? We're looking for ownership, and we're looking for acknowledgement, because if you don't acknowledge, if you just tolerate, then you're endorsing the bad behavior that you really don't want.
Yeah. And enduring, right? Like in a negative way here on this one. What makes up tolerant or enduring is time and presence. How long do you let something stay? And I think of this just simply like, I love to mow. I'll be about what I am first. I love to mow. I would sit on a mower all day if I could.
Yeah.
I hate weed eating.
Yeah. Same. Samesies.
I will ignore weeds.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
And then I'll drive by them when I'm not on a mowing spree, and I'll be like, next time I will do it. I promise. I know. Yeah. I've got all.
It's better let them get big first, then you cut them down.
Yeah, I've got all the good intentions.
Right? You justify all that.
Yeah. But I hate. And then when I finally do it, because it's gotten so bad, I just think to myself the entire time I'm doing it, why didn't you just do this, man? If you would have done this in the first place, it wouldn't have spread like this. It wouldn't have gotten this big. I could have used a weed eater instead of loppers and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like, you let these things get big enough, you let these little saplings start to grow, they become trees.
Yep.
Okay. And so tolerating something is time and presence. It's allowing time to go by, presence to go by. The only thing that happens in time is that this kind of shit grows, and we got to let it go.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, hopefully that gives you leader, team member, some identification, some awareness, and some tools to begin countering this type of stuff that's going on in your organization. Not looking for perfection. That's not real. Be yourself, be vulnerable, be transparent, own it, correct it, move forward. through it. Next time, speaking of going through things, we're going to talk about walking through hard times as a team. It's not if it's going to rain, it's when it's going to rain. And what is it going to be? How will we as a team, from the top to the bottom of the organization, how will we act? And how will we carry ourselves, and how do we move through, not around or dodging or away from, but how do we move through hard times as a team? We'll talk to you about that next time on the Culture Based Podcast. Have a great week.